Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody, wherever you are in the world. Welcome once again to another session of Living World of Darkness. This is a scene for the Mage venue. Very recently, Luke had received a very telling and yet very ominous message from his patron. Saul had sent him a very heavily encrypted text that took quite a while for he and his phone to figure out how to open. And when they finally did, it simply bore a message in Enochian that read, "It is time," and provided him with a set of coordinates.
The Luke will wear his best suit. He will get his Kevlar and he will go towards that coordinate.
The place that he was given seems fairly innocuous, just an empty storefront in the middle of the city. It has a couple signs proclaiming it to be for rent for somebody to purchase, but by the age of the signs, it seems like it's been a while since anybody showed any interest in the place.
It's just a warehouse, you said?
It's like an empty store.
Oh, okay. He tries to enter this place. Like knocks the doors and all that jazz.
As he enters, the doors, he can hear them unlock themselves for his presence, and as he pushes through the door, he finds himself not in the empty storefront that the windows showed, but rather in a very sort of lavish occult room. The place is covered with velvet curtains, black walls, and black carpeting, with various sorts of sigils, very clearly wards of some sort, stitched into the very fabrics themselves. They're sitting on a coffee table right in front of some very plush furniture is a fresh smelling pot of tea.
Luke looks around, writes everything to his brain about this place. He never expected Saul to be a mage. There's a surprise on his face that he has been lying to him for a long time, but he would understand if he is a mage. So he checks for Saul. If he is not there, he checks for the magical things around him to make sure which side he is on.
Nobody appears to be here at the moment, although the tea does appear to look like it was made only moments ago. If you're checking for magical stuff, you can turn on your Prime site
Oh
or
no!
your awareness.
What I'm trying to do is, you said that there are like sigils around. I try to read the sigils. Is it like Enochian?
It's Enochian.
Oh, okay.
Very run of the mill, the kind of Enochian that most hermetics are taught. From the looks of things, they appear to be relatively simple wards, keeping out unwanted guests.
Okay. He kind of looks around and he says, "Saul, are you here?"
There's no response for a while, but soon you will hear the bell in the front of the room sort of ding as the door opens, and he steps inside. He is also dressed in a very fine suit, but over it, he has a knee-length wool coat with various things embroidered on it in black thread. It barely stands out against the black coat.
Luke kind of looks at him and says, "It's been a long time."
He smiles, takes off his leather gloves, and sets them on the coffee table. It has indeed. You haven't touched the tea I left out for you.
I wanted to make sure it's for yourself. It is many lost more for disrespecting Emma Boss.
Well, please, pour some for both of us. We have a lot to talk about tonight.
He goes and starts putting his tea first for him and then for himself, and he drinks as a gesture of trust.
So I've noticed you've chosen to stay with the Order of Hermes.
I was not sure what to do for a while. Akashic Brotherhood. The Tanatoy was interesting. But I was interested in Hermetics and I found myself in Hermetic Library, so it happened in a weird way, but it happened.
Does not matter how you reach your purpose, only that you do. The Order of Hermes often calls out to the greater minds in the mage community.
From which tradition you are? I see the Enochian in your. I see the wars, I mean. Sodom.
He nods. I trained for a long time under the Celestial Chorus. But I found my calling with the Hermetics as well.
He nods. A fellow Titulus?
He nods.
Luke doesn't know this guy's rank or anything like that, so he wants to make sure that he knows who the hell he is. Maybe who knows, he can pull rank to his master, or like his mob boss. And he says, "You give your shadow name, right, Shelby?"
Yes.
Thomas Luke Green, Benny Tyrus, Order Hermeticum, of the Blue Flamed Edge, the Commissar of Discipline, Slayer of Traitors, Bane of Undead, Tread Through Flames, Moses of Fire.
He will nod. Victor Navarro, professor of the Straussen Academy, herald of the final son of House Titulus.
Yeah.
You can roll your Hermetic lore to recognize that name if you'd like.
Okay, I am rolling into Mage Dice Roller. I did not open the scene, but I don't think we really need to open the scene because it's mostly a social scene as far as I know.
Nah, it's okay.
And I got no success, Shelby.
Darn, you have no idea who that is.
I apologize for my insolence, but I did not heard a lot about that name. I know you as Saul, my cellmate, and my boss.
He gives a bit of a nod. Well, I suppose all of that isn't of the utmost importance right now, anyway. The Straussen Academy is where we educate young hermetics to be, you know, sorcerers, those who subscribe to our views, in the hopes that they awaken and join our ranks.
He nods.
For lack of better terms, I teach defense against the dark arts. With specialty in the binding and removal of things known as outsiders.
Does Luke knows anything about outsiders? Because Amachan doesn't.
You can roll your esoterica.
Intelligence is very currently.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3.
Outsiders are not spirits, not angels, not things of the Umbra. They are creatures that come from outside our reality. They're very malicious. They're one of the few things considered true evil. Some Nefandi worship them.
Nefandi, the girl died who created the scars, but I'm sure that if she is the one who created the scars. Have you been informed about this?
I'm unsure as of yet whether or not they're related. But do you know what the Willamette meteorite is?
No.
It's in the Natural History Museum, the largest natural meteorite that was found in the United States. Those of us in the Order of Hermes have been watching it for a very long time, wondering if there was something more to it beyond just being a large rock.
Luke is listening.
Well, our suspicions have recently been confirmed. Whatever it is, something's coming out of it.
Luke likes, like kind of, he's, like the first gods, then technocracy, then this, then Nefandi, now this. He's like, he's listening.
We don't know when it's coming or even how powerful it's going to be. But we think if we can bind it to something, it could be a powerful tool for the Hermetics and the traditions in the war for reality.
Where is this meteorite?
It's in the Natural History Museum, just west of Central Park.
Luke's eyes get closed. You know who was Naomi?
I've heard vaguely. the ecstatic leader of the city.
Yeah. She thinks that the end of the world is coming. She was saying that the Natural History Museum was the origin.
I see. I take it we're not going to be the only ones who have any interest in this.
I heard that there's some giant tentacles in the mass cannibalism. They call it Antichrist.
He furrows his brow a bit.
Yeah.
I'm unsure of the mass cannibalism, and I think the choristers could tell you more about an antichrist.
They're silent for a while. I didn't see them around, especially in the. They were kind of left alone in the war against the technocracy.
Strange. All I know at the moment is that we need to keep an eye on this thing. And if possible, bind it into a tool.
Shelby, oh, see, what do you need to bind something?
Generally
Oh,
Spirit 4 or Prime 4.
oh. Luke kind of looks and says, I am nowhere near that level yet.
I have some contacts, and we may be able to create a vessel to contain it in that you could use.
Okay.
It'll take some time, and we may need help from you and your allies to build it.
There's another hermetic guy in this city called Scott, a nerd. I will look at him. Others don't trust any of them.
A nerd. Perhaps he could research some things for us then.
I will make sure he researches stuff. But how hidden do you want this to be? Because you can bet there will be werewolf involvement about this.
I see.
Close to Central Park.
I would allow the mages to know what we're doing, but the werewolves are on a need-to-know basis, and the museum is technically outside their chosen territory. Unless they've already got things planned for the meteorite, we may be able to go and solve this problem without even involving them.
Okay. Okay. So here's the thing. I will tell the majors that this meteor is a great threat and it needs to be binded to something. And I will say we will build the vessel. I also will say that this will be contained in safe places, but They don't need to know your absolute powers. They just need to know that it's dangerous and you're trying to contaminate it. That's what I'm about to tell people.
That that sounds wise.
Because if you just tell them that you want this, they will just get the hollow ones will be hollow ones, let's just say.
In the meantime, if you can help gather the Magi, let them know of this threat, and perhaps if you can, gather people to research. I'm at the moment looking for information on Premium and an angel by the name of Hadraniel.
I will write them down, he says, and he starts writing. Hadroniel,
Mm-hmm.
Hadroniel, and okay. I'm also publishing at the same time. I'm sorry. To-do list. To find info about Angel Hadroniel. And what's the second thing, Shelby?
Premium.
And something named Premium.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of looks and says, "What's Premium?"
Premium is an alloy that some have been able to create from spiritually blessed silver and spiritually blessed gold. It has incredibly powerful anti-magical properties. Whatever we make to contain the outsider may have to have quite a bit of it.
You say it's either blessed silver or blessed gold. Which has quite a bit of anti-magic, some anti-magic stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to find out if there's a method to mass produce it.
We lost the Diogenes, so we don't have a lot. We lost the library there. Did you know that maybe Diogenes had these information?
He shakes his head. No, I hadn't been to the Diogenes Club since I was an apprentice.
Okay.
If they're still there, I know there used to be celestial choristers in St. Patrick's Cathedral. They may have a library that they're willing to let you use, if they're still there.
I will go there.
And he nods. Good. I wish you all the luck. We're certainly going to need it.
Thank you. We will create our own luck, I hope. He kind of smiles when he says that. Anything else you would like me to do?
For now, watch, listen, observe. Let me know if anything else out of the ordinary happens.
Okay. He nods and then says, "Thank you."
With all of that, unless you have any questions for me, you're dismissed.
He nods. He thinks for a second. Was the prison part of an education?
He just smiles. We have many ways of figuring out who has potential and who doesn't. Unfortunately, so do our enemies.
He nods. Thank you again. He gets up and starts to leave.
And Saul will nod and wave to him as he goes. When he leaves, he will find himself once again outside of that old storefront, probably now with far more questions than answers. And with that, I believe we can end our scene. Thank you, player, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been another scene for Living World of Darkness Street Magic.